here with you. It's so grim. Let's see. Yeah, better. So, I'm here with you today, and we're going to talk about the types of humans and markets. Um, the types of humans, actually, according to Ayn Rand. Okay? So, she mentions those types of human beings actually in terms of politics, yeah? Mostly it's in terms of politics, but like in normal life as well, we see these type of people. Most probably, people, yeah, who belong to all those categories. So, without further ado, number one, the first type of the human being is called a looter. Yeah, a looter. So to loot is to rob. So looters are the robbers. Robber. A looter is a robber. So they rob. In terms of politics, to be a looter is to demand like heavy taxation. If someone wants to do lots of things, but they're like, I'm going to do whatever I want uh, with your money, that's a form of looting as well. So I'm going to build maybe some charity structures, organizations like hospitals or free schools, but I'm not going to do all of that on my own. I'm going to do it with your money, whether you want it or not. Yeah, free healthcare, etc., etc. So the problem arises when I am forced to pay for whatever the other person wants. Yeah, without my permission. They can be like, well, we need a strong army, so we need your money to build a powerful army. We need like free education, free healthcare, blah, blah, blah. Of course, that sounds great. And it's cool when you build all of that um, on a voluntary basis without robbing anyone, without forcing anyone to join you. Yeah? If you force people either by, placing the gun on the person's head or forcing them by law. Yes, the law requires you to pay taxes. If you don't pay, you go to jail. That's a form of violence, isn't that? Hmm? So, Henry David Thoreau, for instance, yeah, he is somewhat famous. People know him, they read him, he's interesting, he's influential. He was jailed for refusing paying taxes. He was like, I don't want to pay taxes. So he was jailed. He was later bailed out the next day. Actually, he was bailed out by his rich aunt. So, but still, yeah. And we have the horrible example of Sweden, where some people had to run away from Sweden physically because they hated that taxation system, and others went into like drugs and alcohol to avoid, facing that terrible system. We'll talk on that later. Okay, so looter is someone who robs you by the power of a gun, by the power of the law, or in any way, forcibly, without your um, accord. Yes, without your permission, they take away either your money or maybe they can take away your car, your apartment. That happens in places like my country, the Republic of Armenia. Something with the Wi-Fi. Okay, so that happens. That kind of thing when they forcibly take away your belongings happens to places like in places like Armenia, 1990s, like those national heroes Vasgen, Sargsyan, and guys with guns who thought they can do whatever they want and solve problems with physical violence. They would be like, I need your car, it's for the army, I'm taking it. And they wouldn't ask your permission. They would also, there was, according to me, it was a form of trafficking. They would take away young guys from cafeterias, from the streets. I know someone whose friend was taken away from a street like that. So to me, that's a form of trafficking, human trafficking. Yeah. So looters are everywhere, especially in collectivist political systems, especially in fascist, nationalist, and conservative political systems. But of course, in socialist systems as well, they were like, we're taking away your land for the sake of the collective, for the sake of socialism, for instance. Yeah, that happened to lots of people, right? That happened to the family of Ayn Rand as well. Yeah, her father owned a small pharmacy, or even I think maybe he even reached to the point where he had a small chain of pharmacies, maybe a couple or three pharmacies, and it was all stolen, taken away by looters for the sake of progress, for the sake of the people, for the sake of the community, blah, 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 blah. So, number one, looters. Political looters are everywhere, they exist. We've been there, we've seen them, yeah, and lots of people faced those people, and they are like tax the rich, for instance. That's funny, right? You want to do something, but you don't want you to be heavily taxed. You want the rich to be heavily taxed. All right. Isn't that hypocritical, though? Okay. Number two, moochers. Yes, a moocher is like a beggar. Yeah, let's call him a beggar, and also a manipulator, someone who manipulates, right? So they manipulate, like, are you not a patriot? Oh, if you're a patriot, then you should give me this, you should give me that, you should pay much more taxes, you should go and war in Vietnam, for instance. If not, you're not American. Your behavior is un-American, or you're a bad guy, yeah, if you don't obey us. Hmm? So again, moochers, they are all across the globe. They feel great in collectivist paradigms and political systems, like wherever they need to manipulate. In Armenia, we have this as well, like, oh, you're not Armenian if you are not nationalist. Yeah? You're an Armenian if you do not support like war to get back Nagorno-Karabakh from Armenia, yeah, or to occupy Azerbaijani lands. So moochers are everywhere as well. They often they press on your conscience, like, well, we need this. All good people should pay lots of tax. All good people should give away their dreams because we have to face hardships today to live better tomorrow. This is the motto of the Republic of Armenia. In 90s, literally, they would say in Armenian, the phrase was "Getsi ein Hayastana vor vաղն է գալու." Long live Armenia, that will come tomorrow. Like today's Armenia, no, you shouldn't strive, for a good life. You should sacrifice and be a sacrificial animal. You should die. You should give away your everything. And they were like, we do this for a better Armenia. So it was a form of mooching, and unfortunately, it still goes on. We have moochers who are like, well, still we need to sacrifice more. All good Armenians should sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. So they can press on your conscience. They can try and manipulate you with some arguments that may seem logical if you don't question them. Okay, and they may be like terrorizing you. You are bad if you do not support us. We are coming after you if you're against us. You shouldn't be. You shouldn't have the permission to live in Armenia if you do not support our way. So those moochers, especially the political landscape, the political fauna and flora are full of these guys, right? Um, So flora is the nature, and fauna is like the animal kingdom. Yeah, those are two, I think, Latin words. Let me just write them for you. Flora. In some languages, fleur, flower. Yeah, that's the word flower. Yeah, the world of the plants. Yeah, and fauna, Fauna, the world of animals. Fauns were like mythical creatures. So the world of animals, the world of plants. Okay, so I'm joking, of course. The political landscape, or the flora and the political flora and fauna, are full of moochers as well. Next, Ayn Rand talks about shamans in some of her books. So this is our third category, shamans. Um, a shaman, or she actually uses the word witch doctor. So let me see. Mm, shaman, witch. I'm writing it as a single word. Okay, witch doctor. Uh, okay, witch doctor. You can have a hyphen in here or just have it as a single word. So a witch doctor uh, is someone who has this mythical mindset. They're not friends with science. They hate reason and rationality. They're like, don't think, feel. Yeah? Believe, obey. Don't think. Thinking is bad. Uh, your brain is your enemy. So, for instance, we have Plato, about whom Ayn Rand talks regularly as well, who was like, your brain is fooling you. You shouldn't believe your brain. And philosophers should have all the political power. They should rule the society. So that was funny, of course. I don't want to go too deep into that, but that was a dictatorial aspiration, I'd say. Of course, we could understand Plato because his teacher, Socrates, was sentenced to death by a political decision. Like in Athens, they had this democracy. Demos in Greek is the crowd, and kratos is like um, governance. Yeah, let's call it that. So there were some charges against Socrates, like he's corrupting the Greek youth. He's not worshipping and respecting the gods of Athens, and his sentence was voted on. Like they voted to put him to death, and Socrates accepted that. So I think from that point of view, uh, it could be understood like what Plato meant, because democratically people can vote on anything, on killing someone, even that happened, and that may happen again, on stripping away someone's or some groups' rights, yeah, like the rights of gay people or some religious minorities, etc., etc. So, which doctors are those guys who enjoy that? Who are like, we should feel, we shouldn't think, there shouldn't be a Bill of Rights, there shouldn't be a stable constitution, we should feel, we should obey, society shouldn't be run by rational structures or by objective laws. Yeah, we'll talk about the law um, later. So, witch doctors are, you can be a teacher, you can be a politician, you can be just a citizen and be a witch doctor. So, all of these categories are just paradigms, mindsets that you have. Lots of academicians and lots of politicians are witch doctors, actually. And they normally praise dictatorship. They praise collectivism. They are like, we shouldn't rely on rationalism. We should bring in religion. We should be irrational. They justify, anything which is irrational. So next, number four, here's another political type, Attila. Attila was historical figure, yeah. He was a ruler and he is famous for his cruelty. So Attila is dictator, yeah. All Attilas are dictators. Attilas enjoy like just like the looters, they enjoy political power. They enjoy physical power and violence. Like think of Putin, think of Lukashenko. I would say think of Donald Trump as well because he tried to solve some political, not even issues. Like he tried to corrupt, yeah, democratic processes and politics through physical violence. Yes. So also I'd say think of Donald Trump. If Trump stays in the US for let's say even 10 or 15 years, I won't be surprised if the US and Canada will start warring against each other. Because all the dictators have this same inclination, mindset. They are fond of enemies, internal enemies, external enemies. So the US will quickly turn into Russia, Belarus or Belarus, Belarus, I think, yeah. Russia, Belarus, Afghanistan, yeah, if people support guys like Donald Trump, if people support Attilas or witch doctors, politically speaking, yeah. So, and Ayn Rand discusses this interesting inclination of shamans. They are inclined towards supporting Attilas. Yeah, so let me show you this again. Here it is. Yeah. So we've got Attilas and shamans, and there is this natural alliance between the two. Yeah, Ayn Rand says, because in a rational world, shamans are lost. They don't know what to do, how to live. They need some irrationality. They need some father figure who will tell them what to do, who will protect them, who will feed them. You know, which doctors often, mm, how to put it, in Armenia, for instance, let me give you a clear example. We have those academicians or academic witch doctors who are like who serve the ruling party. Like we have had this for the past 30 years, like academicians and scientists who write whatever they are told to write. In about maybe 2014 or 2015, we had some interesting scandalous situation around a new textbook, which was commanded by the ruling Republican Party, again, Republicans. um, they don't rule now, they used to rule back then. So they commanded a new history book covering the modern history of Armenia. So we had a terrible thing that happened in 2008, March the 1st, 2008. People were protesting and they were beaten. The army, actually, army troops were brought to the capital of Armenia, to Yerevan. 10 people were killed. There were more than 100 people like who were wounded. I think much more than 100, maybe more than 200. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was horrific. Yeah. So in that textbook, the authors, some of whom were, like professors and high-ranking officials in Yerevan State University, they twisted the story and they wrote that the protesters, it was an angry mob. This angry, impolite mob attacked the police officers, and the police officers had to defend themselves. Something like that. And the text was quite emotional. They used those kind of, heavy and emotional words like this unholy mob. Yeah, shit like that. So, it was like, why the hell are you doing that? And the answer was that they were told to do that. They were told to, write a specific scenario and interpret the history according to the worldview of the ruling party who was behind those, clashes and all the terrible stuff that happened. And interestingly, there was a very interesting footage of policemen, walking with some long sticks, wooden and sticks made of iron or some metal, and they took all those sticks to the place where the protesters used to camp in the downtown. And of course, the official propaganda was like, look, they had these weapons, yeah, sticks, weapons, and they attacked us with those weapons. But the footage shows how the policemen actually take those weapons into that camp. So, it was very corrupt. Robert Kocharian is the number one responsible who was behind all of this, and of course the leading Republican Party. There were also some other oligarchs and political forces involved, like all the conservative, um, hordes. Let's call them that. Okay? So shamans enjoy serving Attilas because Attilas give them food, they give them salaries, they command them like write this or explain this in that light. Yeah. So witch doctors are very happy when they serve Attilas, especially because their mental activity, their paradigms are quite similar. They both believe that we need this father figure who will protect us in this irrational world. We cannot understand the universe using our mind. We just need to pray, we need to worship, we need to blindly follow a leader. Yeah? So, Attilas. And in the end, we have a very positive figure. Well, in the world of Ayn Rand, traders are very positive. A trader in the world of Ayn Rand is someone who has a very honest motivation. For instance, I need something, maybe a loaf of bread or maybe some new skill, and I know someone who has what I need. Yeah, I don't rob them. I don't beg, them to give me this bread for the sake of, I don't know, country, for the sake of God, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I don't try to manipulate or control or rob. I just ask him, what do you need in exchange for this? And we, both of us, like both the parties, organize a conscious exchange process. I might give him money, for instance. Or maybe I have some interesting object that he wants, and we can exchange. Like, I'll get my bread, he'll get whatever he wants. So it's an honest trading procedure, yeah, or process. we exchange. Yeah. So traders in the world of Ayn Rand are honest guys, yeah, who are not interested in manipulating, in lying, in controlling, in cheating, right? And traders are also type of human being, and in politics, sometimes, rarely, but still we can see some traders who are like, let's understand each other and let's build some structures, some systems that are not based on coercion, on physical force, on lies, yeah, on cheating. So, from the perspective of objectivism and Ayn Rand, traders are the guys who need to be respected and who need to be heard. Yes, of course, we speak of honest trade, yeah, without any lies, without any cheating, without any desire of creating some monopoly, right? So these are the basic five types of human beings and of human behaviors. And of course, each human being, again, let me show you that. Of course, each and every human being has all this mindset in his own mind and heart, I'd say. You need to choose. You regularly need to choose between those five. And if your choice is rational, if you want to be honest, of course, you have a choice as well. Yeah, you can be that as well, honest, transparent, open. Because in some philosophies, especially in politics, people are like, well, politics is always dirty. You cannot be honest. You should cheat. You should lie, and that's not entirely true. You can cheat, you can lie, and you can be very honest as well. Okay. So this was the first part of today's lesson, the basic human types. And you are free, like this course is very liberal. You are free to come up with your own ideas. You can comment on this. If I forgot something, if we have some objectivists who are more, you know, uh, who know much more than me, you guys are welcome to comment and to um, make this material even richer. Okay. Now the second part of this lesson is dedicated to markets, types of markets, but it will be very brief and it will be very, very introductory. Yeah. We're not going to go deep into economics, especially because I don't know that. Um, I'm not deeply interested in the depths of economics, but in case if we have people who are into economics who would like to comment, who would like to maybe co-lead a lesson, I'm open, I'm free. I'll be happy. We can organize a Zoom meeting, and it can go live on YouTube, and we can debate. Yeah, if I have maybe socialists who might be watching this course and they would like to maybe respond and present their own arguments, you are welcome as long as you're ready to respect, yeah, your adversary, respect your interlocutor, me, and as long as it will be, the debate will be in a very civilized fashion. So welcome. Okay. All right. So basically, in terms of markets, we are going to talk about. Let's have a market. Oops, oops, oops. My chalk. Okay, there it is. All right. So this is our markets in the style of ancient Greece, right? So, they had these structures. They were not only temples, they had these long structures where people could, be under the roof. People were protected from the sun, from the rain, and they would trade, they would exchange goods, they would exchange ideas. Yeah. So, this is our market. we have two basic ways of dealing with the market. Yes, so controlled, controlled markets, markets that are controlled. Number one, and number two, free. Yeah, like free markets that are not regulated by a government or any political structure. They are like, they exist on their own. People decide the prices, people regulate whatever they want to regulate. If a conflict arises, people, deal with that on their own. So there are those two types of markets. Collectivists enjoy, controlling. They are hungry for power. All those types of people, except for the trader, in the world of Ayn Rand and objectivism, they are hungry. Man, they are hungry for power. They have this lust for power and control. So we've seen this, throughout the human history. We've seen this hunger for power and control in all these collectivist political systems. Fascism, nationalism, socialism, yeah, everywhere, wherever there is this collectivism that the individual doesn't matter, the group matters, yeah. They want to control everything. Soviet Russia, modern Russia, yeah, modern Armenia, Soviet Sweden, for instance, Sweden Sweden today as well. Lots of communist and socialist countries, yeah, they go to the extremes on controlling the human behavior and on controlling the market, and sometimes it leads, not even just sometimes, normally it leads to some very bad results, some very disastrous situations. For instance, when the government decides to support failing banks or failing businesses, it's like investing in something that is already broken. Yeah. Um, in case if you have some statistics and data on how many of these businesses really work, and on the return on investment, whether it really worked or not. Well, normally we, from time to time, we see that it fails big time. All those recessions, yeah, uh, inflations, these are sometimes artificially created by the behavior of the government, especially by the behavior of a collectivist government who has certain interests, who has some even conflicts of interests because they have their, favorite businesses or favorite branches that they want to support. Or there is, it's important to, speak about this term, right? Crony capitalism. Capitalism. So a crony in English is like a pal, a friend, yes? Someone whom you know well, who is close to you. So crony capitalism is when you appoint an official not based on his knowledge and on his virtues, but based on the fact that he's your good friend or he's your relative, yeah? Or you studied together. That's crony capitalism. And in terms of like market and economic control, of course, crony capitalism controls everything. Like, especially, for instance, even if I'm a businessman, I'm a big corporation, and I have some pals, friends, family members in the government, I normally tend to benefit from it if the political system is beneficial for that as well. If There is no strong sense of uh, republic, for instance, where human rights are respected, where there are no groups that are given some advantages or privileges over other groups. Yeah. So this is a very big topic, actually. Ayn Rand discusses it in some of her articles and works. Right now, again, I'm just going to say that a free market tends to control itself and tends to self-organize over time, um, and it's more viable because it is, for instance, let's take this. This is an avocado seed, right? So if the seed is given, if the seed has all these natural conditions, yes, under which it should grow, everything is good. Yeah, the seed works on its own. The seed works out like the plant inside the seed. Let's say that way, finds its way out. You shouldn't control every single step. Yeah, you should just allow the seed to be in the soil, and when the conditions are right, yeah, the seed grows in an open nature. Yeah, when the temperature is right, when the humidity is right. Living organisms have this, I don't know whether I should call it self control, self regulation. Yeah. Even your lungs, your heart, your kidneys, they just work right now. You do not control them, right? You're not like, heart, you should beat. Yeah, you don't you don't have any control over your heartbeat, over your breathing process. It is regulating itself, right? So structures are quite similar in that respect. Of course, you can experiment, you can slow down your breath, you can follow your breath, yeah. You can add some pauses between your inhalations and exhalations. But overall, like life is sustaining itself, right? Markets are like that too. If there are no monopolies, if there is no government control, normally markets tend to do fine. The biggest problem with the government control, for instance, in USSR, in Belarus today, yeah, the government is like, you should create, you should produce 20,000 uh, cars, yeah, and when it's produced, there is not enough demand. So they have to sell it overseas. Sometimes they have to sell it with very low prices. Yeah. And the government is like, well, I have to maintain these workplaces, so I don't want to stop the production. So there is a huge disbalance of demand and production. Yeah, things are produced, but people don't buy it. So of course, this balance is going to affect the country, and this is why, for instance, modern Belarus regularly needs a savior, and Putin is very happy to be that savior because he's buying out Belarus. Yeah, because when you have to pay salaries to the workers. Yeah, how are you going to pay if your system is broken, if you give out too much, if you invest too much and there is not enough return on your investment? Well, what is it going to result in? Yeah, so if I try to visualize that, and we'll finish with this. Okay, now let's see, we have our government here. Yeah, this is our government, shortly GOVT, govt. Yeah, It stands for government. So our government is like, it regulates the market. So here we have the market. Yeah, market. Yeah. So the government tells the market how much they should produce, and the government invests a certain amount of money into this whole process. Let's say, build. I'm sorry. Sorry. Build cars. Let's say, and build, let's say, 20,000 cars. Yeah, for 2022. And the government is investing, let's say, $1 billion. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, $1 billion is invested into this. Oh, sorry, it's not the market. It's the factory. Yeah, this is the economy. Factories or factory. Yeah. So this is it. The government spends $1 million, and all this money is given to the factories. The factories produce that amount of cars, yeah, and all of those cars are sent to the local markets across the country, yeah, and for markets, yeah. However, there is, only, let's say, 3,500 cars are sold locally. Yeah, people don't want to buy. There is not enough demand. The government didn't really care to verify whether 20,000 cars were needed or not. They just decided that they want that. Yeah, based on their own calculations to keep the workplaces and stuff. So we have, let's say, 16,500 cars that have to be sold. Yeah, and from the market, from the local market, the government gets, let's say, only $400,000 back. Yeah, it's actually, I think it's even much less than that. Yeah, so the government invested $1 million, yeah, into this whole process, and the government got back only $400,000. So there are new expenses, as you have to move your cars to other countries, like transportation and a number of other expenses. Yeah. So because of that, uh, the government has to spend even more money on, selling those cars that were produced by the government, right? So, this circle leads to impoverishment. Like, the government had to invest $1 million, and now the government has to invest even more to sell those cars which were not sold. And if those cars are not of great quality, they cannot compete with other cars. If we, like, let's have this as an export. Yeah, export. So it's exported, new expenses, and if those cars are not of great quality, they cannot compete with other foreign cars, and still they are not sold. So a government regulated system, economy, is dangerous in this respect, and this is why you need some Putin, you need some government investments to buy you out, to maintain, yeah, your factory, which uh, might have collapsed without the government support. And of course, the government creates a lot of debt through this whole process. Yeah. So in case if this whole production and selling process is organized by private companies and individuals, the risk is mine. I take a risk as an individual, as an entrepreneur. If I fail, well, I can try something else. I have to pay myself. Yeah. If the government does it, the government doesn't pay. Yeah. You pay your taxes. Yeah. So they may increase your taxes. They may sell, lots of things to some foreigners like Putin or the Chinese who are happy to, buy your economy out, buy it away, I would even say. Yeah. So this is why market control can be very dangerous and very negative, right? And in free markets, of course, lots of businesses fail and you learn through your failures. Yeah. Thomas Edison, he used to say something like, I know 999 ways of how not to make a light bulb. Yeah. He invented the light bulbs. Yeah. Let me show you mine. Yeah, there it is. So Edison invented light bulbs. Do I have one? Anyway, yeah, I can draw it. Right. So there it is. Edison invented light bulbs, and he was like, well, I know 999 ways of how a light bulb won't work. Yeah, and that's okay. Nikola Tesla or Elon Musk, they all failed a few times, yeah, with their rockets, etc. And they pay it, or they pay on their own, yeah. And the economy, the population doesn't suffer from that, yeah. In case if governments fail, normally, the president doesn't pay anything from his pocket because he's not even rich, yeah. Normal presidents in normal countries, they are not that rich and they normally don't even pay from their pockets in case if something fails, right? So this is it. You're free to think about these topics and give me your feedback. What do you think about this? Yeah. What's your stance on these issues? Okay. See you next time.